context is important, and I'm going to be giving you a thumbnail sketch of some context here. Warning to YouTube and Google, I'm using links to the person who's being discussed, an archive of the subject matter of what this person voted for, and Wikipedia. So if you want to, you can very desperately flag this video till you're foaming at the mouth, or you can leave it up. 1100 AD. Any opponent of a group would be claimed to worship other gods, even if they professed no gods. Baphomet, which is how it was spelled and pronounced apparently, was claimed to be any opponent's deity at one time or another by poets. Yeah, it's fake news from 1100 AD. Many others were also accused of praying to this, including the Knights Templar, which, in case you're curious, didn't. Troubadours, poets, abused the term Baphomet for Muhammad and Bafumaria for any mosque to demonize another religion, which of course never happens, and everybody in the past was totally fair and balanced and not fake news, obviously. And by 1300 AD, false confessions to worship this made-up deity were fashionable while torturing them to death to bolster whatever political career you wanted to have in France. So if you invoke the name Baphomet, anything like this, the only recorded history about it is it was used as propaganda and a type of, we'll call it false libel, against any group you wanted to have justification to torture to confess to something that wasn't possible because there was no such damn thing. Now, if you're not aware of the next part, virtually everybody who professes mockingly to worship Baphomet or invoke Baphomet's name or put up not an altar, but putting up an effigy of this supposed Prince of Hell or whatever you want to call it. Virtually every one of these groups of people overtly tell you they don't believe in it because it's bullshit. But let's ignore context, intent, and the real reason something you're calling something other than a effigy being placed at a politically charged location. Shall not make laws connecting state and church, because that's always been a bad idea. The church, if you're not aware of it, every church is based on overwhelming power being gained through subterfuge and lying and propaganda and getting away with it because politicians take a lot of money from priests with gold-plated secret jewelry we won't discuss. But no, my religion has never done that, ignoring entire amount of history. Ironically, history major here. But anyway, it was never under any conditions something real. Okay, yeah, but no. Just like there is no Nibiru. There isn't. Nibiru is, in another language, the word for crossing or transition, referring to a time and place, a river crossing, or the transition from the full moon to a quarter moon or whatever. Or a transition across the sky of the wandering stars we call planets, because planet has an origin story to mean wanderer. Ignoring history while claiming and professing to believe in it by saying, I speak truth, I believe something. Those are escape hatch words for I won't look shit up. Now, I've done this before about this subject and all the other ones people bring up on previous channels that have been torn down by flaggings and also YouTube just deciding to have a hissy fit. It doesn't change whether the information is available. And you can correct me if you want to, but you have to use some sort of fact. Otherwise, I'm just going to make fun of you being ignorant on purpose, willful ignorance. But then again, I'm ignorant. I profess ignorance because I go ahead and look up things every single time. Because that's what you're supposed to do. We're humans. We make mistakes. But this person isn't making a mistake. Michael Cassidy just created an altar to Baphomet. Let's discuss Mr. Cassidy. Born in Annapolis, Maryland, went to Virginia Tech, to get a bachelor's degree in history, which of course has been wasted because he didn't bother Google that shit for you. Let me Google that for you. Went to Harvard University for liberal arts degree. Dramatic pause. This is from 2005 to 2009 for the history degree. Okay. And from 2016 to 2018, liberal arts degree. So he has a 4-year degree in history, which he's doomed to repeat it, apparently, because he's only studied it to make it happen again. And he has a 2-year degree at Harvard. Did he just kind of escape hatch that? Anyway, and during this time, he was a U.S. Navy pilot and instructor. In 2021, he went into Navy Reserve and also worked as a commercial test pilot. That's what he's calling himself, a test pilot. A test pilot can be anything from someone retesting an existing piece of equipment to make sure it's within spec and pushing its limits to the 80 percentile point to make sure it does nothing unusual. That means you have to have a shit ton of experience with that airplane. So you fly airplanes that have been tested by others. You literally get a feel for it while you get the machinery to test to see if you're getting it correct. And if you qualify that way, you get hired to be the live test pilot, because robotically testing an airplane is bad. Think Skynet. So anyway, we have test pilots. But it can also be somebody testing out experimental aircraft. Michael Cassidy does not show any history here or any overt statement of testing anything experimental. And no, that wouldn't be top secret, yada yada, or whatever escape hatch you wish to use. Yes, I use that expression a lot. He lost the Mississippi House Republican primary election in 2022 twice in a row. The Republicans wouldn't pick him. He's a pick-me. 2023, he lost the Mississippi House election to a Democrat. Thanks for your help. You're getting your check from the Balloon-Naughty liberals soon, sir. Thank you very much for cooperation. He got 37% of the vote. I'm sure he, flailed his tentacles about how it's all rigged, I'm sure. No, I don't know that. But he has a singularly boring career, except as he's an aircraft pilot. He went through the military to become an aircraft pilot, because that's actually one way to do it, and it's not a bad way. And immediately, I put these kind of people, like you do, on a pedestal, including someone who's willing to go out, and I'm assuming in the commercial business he's working at, he has a job doing this, that he tests airplanes for safety qualification and to make sure they're within spec, and maybe does some research work, but he hasn't really specified what he does. That doesn't mean he's a test pilot of something exotic or interesting. That means he's doing daily grind, real work. Okay? This is not something you make fun of, and I don't want anybody shitting on him for it. If he's willing to go up in an airplane, and it's called being a test pilot at all on his resume, leave him alone. Okay, we need people to test equipment and test them to failure. I guarantee you he has a parachute and maybe can punch out. And he also works as an instructor on one of many jet aircraft that's used mostly by the reserve on the coastline, that sort of thing. Our first line of defense on a ground invasion. So yeah, he teaches people to fly these things. I like teachers. I like testers. I like people who safety test and engineering limit test equipment. Okay. And yes, I'm trying to clear your head about the fake history of Baphomet. But he lost the House election 2 years in a row, twice to his own party previous year, and then this year he lost to a Democrat. And I'm saying he probably snapped, or he decided to do this as a political grift when he decided to show up at the Iowa State Capitol, which isn't his state, and quote-unquote behead a Baphomet. Okay, an effigy can be done as false praise to mock an entity or person safely, usually at the end of the year. An altar is a ritualistic presentation table to enshrine them. He ripped off the head off of a effigy and stuck it onto a table, and it's now surrounded with candles and has another statement on top of it. The only thing he's done is created an offering table to Baphomet instead of, very likely, because of the stance of, quote-unquote, the Church of Satan or Satanic Church or Temple or whatever, instead of it being an effigy making fun of Baphomet, because that's what it is. And it's a symbol of making fun of religions, bringing up what a lot of people consider made-up deities and demanding you bow to them as a way of political power playing and dominating other people. Assert dominance, make them bow to you, but stand next to a statue of Jesus while you do it, I guess, right? That's something we object to in this country because it's singularly un-American to confuse religion and politics. Both get worse and messier and become intractable evil. And I'm very much paraphrasing the founding fathers that a lot of you fuckers ignore. You are not supposed to have your state, county, or federal government literally endorse a religion. It's overtly against the Constitution. But hey, whatever, right? So in Iowa State Capitol, they decided, in Iowa or whatever, I guess, they decided to protect the right of religious groups to put something at the Capitol building, which is an endorsement, unless they allow everybody. So, as literally just a joke, the people who put up this effigy, and it's an effigy of Baphomet, not Satan, and it's not satanic, they put up an effigy of it to mock, number one, the law, or the presumption within the law, and two, to shove your nose in the fact that when you allow any religion in, you add in the religions you don't like. You can have an effigy honoring Muhammad if Muslims would lower themselves to actually have an effigy or an image of Muhammad in modern day. They used to a long time ago, but then they decided it was bad and started using it as an excuse to kill people overseas, but we won't go into that. So, this Al-Qaeda member, this Christian jihadist, shows up and attacks an effigy, a mocking, praised statue. And alters it, figure of speech, into an altar by setting down the head on the table where there's a bunch of candles, or someone else did, but he ended up making it to where now it's just a ritualistic shrine to Baphomet. Again, a non-real deity, something that was made up as a way to justify torturing and murdering people and trying to gain political power by scaring the populace by claiming you're doing it for God. Because anybody invoking God while being a politician, there's a forked tongue there, and you don't want to know where it goes. A Baphomet effigy was made into an altar of praise via the ignorance of a failed politician, 3 times failed politician, Michael Cassidy, when he was 35 years old. And he'll never get over this. He'll never get past it, and he'll double down on it for the rest of his life, because this is the pattern of behavior, the stupefying pattern of behavior among just one political group this time. This used to be the kind of bullshit you'd see from social justice warlords who would do horrible things, borderline terrorist behavior, or torture your town you were in at the time. But we won't go there. But now it's scorched earth policy with Christian love. But yeah, he ended up creating an altar rather than an effigy. And that's funny. And again, Baphomet's not going to get you. Doesn't exist. It's a goat head on a human body. It's a fallacy. It's a joke. But at 35, this person is a 3 times failed politician who has nothing else going for him except, again, he teaches people to fly airplanes and tests equipment to make sure it's safe. I'm not taking that from him. But you could have just ridden on this instead of doing something that proves to everybody you're just another QAnon wannabe. This isn't QAnon, by the way. This is just that kind of shit. This is the worst end of the conservative right-wing population behavior. They go off and beat up dummies. That's like a straw man joke. I mean, it's a straw man argument joke, isn't it? So yeah, if you're watching, Mike, all you did was create something that's symbolically in praise of Baphomet. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I wish everyone luck with that.